But what about
like
the
fucking you
Sprouse
deal with
brothers?
it.
Like you grew up with the Sprouse brothers, right? Like
Yeah.
they were in your era.
They were a little bit before us. Yeah.
They were actually babies on Even Stevens. They were in like an episode where I think Shia's character
hilarious.
babysat for them, and they were twins.
Oh, they were guest stars on that show?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they had done like Big Daddy and stuff like that. But like it's so funny. I mean, it's interesting to hear him speak out about it because that was his experience. Was very little support, very little instruction.
Yeah.
A lot of mental health issues there with family, and so it's anyway. My heart goes out to those kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
it's tough.
And those kids are at risk in times like this, and so I do hope that in general that becomes a part of the conversation at some point. That like they pay just as many dues as anyone else, and so I just feel like we all pay the same amount of dues. It wasn't like we got a child actor
I don't think
due
so.
payment.
I think you just got paid less because you were a child. You still paid the same dues.
It's so awful on so many levels if you think about it. Anyway, look, I'm not here to hate on it. I love talking to you guys about it because y'all came into my I don't know, orbit, with what y'all were doing with the podcast. And so I want to know what it is you guys want to be doing. Do you guys really love each other so much that you want to keep talking in a format that's in front of a microphone? Like, what are your goals during the strike and after the strike? Do you love your fans enough to like give them that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He's a good writer. So I think he'll, it'd be great if you sold something while the other industry's on strike.
Yeah. I enjoy, I enjoy that process of like getting something made. I think is a very fulfilling thing to see something go from absolutely nothing to being on set. Such a crazy thing. And I think having grown up being an actor, it's funny, you think the first day of work is the first day of that job, but everybody else is there and they're like, yeah, we've been here for 4
weeks.
months, like just prepping this thing. And then he's been writing this for 2 years trying to figure it out. But as an actor, you're like, oh, what do you mean? I thought this was everybody's first day, Yeah. So like, I think that just realizing the work that goes into it beforehand, I think probably could also only make you a better actor to understand where everybody else around you is coming from. As far as the podcast goes, I mean, like, we just have a good time talking to people.
Yeah.
And just
we're like doing exactly what you're doing. It's just talking to each other, bouncing ideas off of someone else and learning what the industry was like from an entirely different perspective, but in the same situation. I mean, growing up working is super weird, especially around adults that are, taking a big chance as artists. I think it's a really cool experience, and everyone we've talked to has shed incredible light on how they grew up. We'll see.
I've also kind of found, I feel like through interviewing those people I feel like there's a wall that kind of goes up as a child actor that you're, I don't know, especially in the strike right now, that it was all so awful and so tough, and it was this hard thing that we all had to deal with. But I think when you kind of start talking to people, especially the ones that we spoke with, like deep down, you kind of get to the point of like, hey, that was also really awesome. What we got to do was really amazing.
Oh my God, so amazing.
We made millions of people laugh, and if that's the only thing I've ever do in my life, that's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing that people watched you every single week, And so it's like, I kind of found with everybody we talked to, it's like at the end of it, you're like, yeah, we're super lucky we got to do that, So it's like, as hard as it was,
I'm with you.
It was also incredible,
Look, I'm with you in that I think that exactly what you just said is vital to be the main part of the narrative, that it's a balance of this is what we went through and this is also what we went through, how great it was, right? That's perfectly fine to have the spectrum of human experience attached to the human experience.
Yeah.
However, I personally feel like there could be more protections. And so I don't know how y'all feel about it, but it just seems like we're heading in a direction where mental health is talked about more frequently. And so I just think it's really great, no matter what form it's in and no matter how you see it. It's great that the conversations are being had.
I also had a grandma who really took care of me and kept me away from stuff until I was ready to see it, which, it's tough to be sheltered at times, but I think now that we have both sides of the experience. We have the great side of it where we got to perform weekly, and then you have the side of it where you just sort of wait for shit to happen, it feels like. But yeah, I think that strong support system, his mom worked with him
every day
too. So
I love that.
yeah.
So do you guys want kids?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, both of you are like, we're doing it.
I'll do it
We're doing it. Okay, good.
together.
Would you put
we
your kids in the
announcement.
business? That's the final question.
I think
would not.
I like the feeling of like if that's what you want to do and you can get behind it, and that's a decision that you're willing to take on and you know the risks, then I'll stand by you.
If they told me, this is the one thing I really want to do, I would do anything to support that, but I would not encourage it.
No.
Because it's just, I mean,
it's a lot of work.
dude, you know, at the end of
My
the
mom
day,
didn't give a shit about it. She's like, do whatever you want.
at the end of the day, it's an unfortunate thing, and I know we don't like to talk about it ever, but so much of it is predicated on what you look like, or if you're funny, or if you can
right place, right time.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, that's not necessarily a healthy business, you know? It's the best job in the world. When you're a working actor, dude, there's nothing better than that.
Awesome. You can also be in the right place in the right time, and everything goes wrong. That's just what the business does.
Yeah.
It's just it's a crazy idea of a business to be like, you know, you're really good at this, but we wanted somebody who was blonde.
Yeah.
So,
I love the feedback. I love that now you don't even get any feedback whatsoever. So.
Well, I don't understand feedback at all. Why even give it? If they're like, that was great. We're just gonna go in a different direction, but we really appreciate your time. You're like, okay, well,
it's not
say
feedback.
Like, no.
That's the same as saying no, actually. You didn't do anything. But it's also different. I mean, I wish this was talked about in the strike, but I would give anything to do an in-person audition again.
Oh, me too.
Oh, they're talking
just
about
reject
that
me to my face.
Well, totally. But yeah,
just
but I
let
mean,
me
like,
flop in the room.
That was the job.
At least you can get a casting director to go like, yikes. All right, we don't need to hear the second scene. That's
Thank
all
you
right.
so much.
Oh yeah, no, that's what the young actors nowadays who are doing all this only have done self-tapes don't know the pain of, we're going to do 5 scenes, and then you get in there and you do 2 scenes and they're like, we're good. And you're like,
all we need
fuck. You hated those so bad. That is a pain that nobody can describe to somebody who's only done a self-tape, because they don't know if they're watching it. What are you going to look at the Vimeo link and they'll be like, oh, it only has 1 view.
Where you have like 5 people in a room and only like 1 or 2 of them are watching. The rest are on their computer.
It's like, phone.
They're talking. They're taking notes over here about something totally separate.
It's like an intern, a casting intern that's actually watching it.
Yeah, or you're about to go into the room, you're ready to go, and they're like, we're going to do a quick lunch. We'll be right back. We're just going to do a quick lunch. I had that happen, and I was sitting there, and I grew up playing baseball, so I was always like rushing from my auditions to go to baseball. Yeah. And I'd be like, fuck, I'm going to miss the game because I got to sit here for 30 minutes while
need their
you
Carl's
can't eat
Jr.
while I'm fucking reading. I would at least appreciate that.
Oh my God, so many. I bet you guys have amazing audition stories. And honestly, I feel like I didn't like really conduct enough specific questions for you guys. So no matter what happens, if you guys feel up to it, feel free. Let's have more conversations, because you guys are so fun to talk to.
We'll do a whole episode of just auditions.
I don't care.
We'll
come back anytime.
Auditions.
You guys are the best, and it's been an honor to have you on. And
thank you for having us.
And where can everyone find you guys? Are you on Cameo? Like, what's your side hustle? What's going on?
We're really bad with social media.
Yeah, horrible.
Okay.
You have someone in charge of that. I just don't do it.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter. It's not called Twitter.
It's called X now. As of right now, it's called X.
I thought the logo was X.
The logo is X.
No, I thought it changed too. To the name is also
X.
just X.
It's X?
Yeah, because he's like, it's mine, so I'm gonna do it.
He loves that letter.
He does like that. That's his son's name.
I was listening to a podcast today. Well, an X, the Model X.
Right.
And then I was listening I was actually listening to a Wall Street Journal podcast today.
How
gentlemen.
fancy.
I didn't know you were so much better than me.
Well, you know, I went to Columbia, so
right.
12 years.
For 12
years.
12 years.
That's right.
I am a doctor.
Yeah, I was going to say,
podcasts.
you've got to have a doctorate.
Yeah.
So basically, I think the idea is that Musk is going to have like an all app, like everything. You get your Uber from that app, and you also buy stuff from that app, and you also get your credit check from that app, and you also can tweet from that app. And I think in China, they already have one, and it's called something app.
That's a horrible name for an app.
It's not WhatsApp. It's something it's some shit that's already in China. And so the suggestion from Wall Street Journal is that it's that kind of.
I don't know if I want to check my credit on.
I don't know if I want to
tweet about the burrito I had yesterday.
Man, I just really don't care about
My
Twitter.
burrito was $6.70.
Oh my God, this was so good, and also I'm doing really bad with my credit score right now.
It's cool. I mean, maybe we can start a GoFundMe on there or something, and just get people to get us through the strike, so we can,
Dude, did you get the email?
Do you need? Yeah.
Did you get the email about it was from SAG? I did find this a little funny. It was asking to donate to the SAG fund, and I thought,
oh, I saw that too.
But I thought, well, but
what
hang
about
on now? Like, why would
my SAG?
Are you gonna give it right
literally
back? What's gonna happen? I give you 40, you give me 60. It's a Ponzi scheme.
The foundation does great work, but I was like, it is tough. I mean, we're all no one can work. We're not allowed to talk about the things that we used to work on.
Yes, although SAG does have a podcast. I wonder how they're going to accomplish that.
Terrific. Well,
I actually realized that yesterday because I Googled, because I didn't know what we were allowed to talk about. So I Googled SAG podcast. That was the only thing.
Yeah.
I like to get to the point with my Google searches.
SAG podcast. Tell me please now.
It just came up with the SAG podcast.
Pray for us, please, and go follow them on socials and donate to our actors fund me page, aka Cameo. Come on, guys, are you not on Cameo?
Not on Cameo.
Follow you on X.
Go check my credit score on X.
Check his credit score. But I loved talking to you guys. Thank you for coming. Finally, we got to connect in person.
This was nice.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for checking out this clip for the Vulnerable Podcast. For the full episode, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. That link is in the description. Thanks again.